All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for today's case study. I am here with Seth and Marisa, and Seth and Marisa actually just completed their 8 weeks in our store implementation program. And I'm excited to have them on because they're actually a unique story. So before we started recording on this call, we got a little dark there, guys. If we can get some so we can get some more light in there. There we go. So before we started recording, I was getting updated from Seth and Marisa, and they were telling me that, so the short story is they had their store, they had gotten it up within about 6 weeks to $500 a day or so, with a peak of about $900 a day. And they have lives outside of e-commerce. They have a family, they have other businesses. So they actually decided to pause their store or their ads for the time being while they got some systems in place. I think that's very important. We'll come back to that. But I think that's very important for anybody watching this case study to hear things like that, because once you start building up your business, things like customer service and managing ads and managing your Facebook comments, all that stuff starts to add up. So that's just an interesting bullet point I wanted to add before we start talking. But guys, let's dive in. Seth, Marisa, why don't you tell everybody a bit about what you do outside of before you got into e-commerce? Like, what's your everyday lives?
Sure. I'm good. My everyday life, besides being a husband and father, I own and operate a logistics brokerage. So I'm in the shipping world, mostly international import-export, and with a focus on e-commerce. So that's somewhat kind of what drew me to this. I do know about the e-commerce world. And that's my everyday, just the import-export side of things and working with companies that ship internationally.
Cool. So was there any crossover there, like from things that you already knew, or is it just kind of completely separate? Yeah.
To be honest, completely separate. I mean, I own and operate this company, but at the end of the day, I'm a sales guy. I sell. That's all I really do, and I manage the business, but 90% of my day is selling. So when it comes to the IT world and the marketing world, I've got nothing. That's more Marisa.
Gotcha. Marisa, what about you?
So this was Seth's dream. I actually didn't have any intention of getting involved in this. Seth had piqued his interest because of the shipping, had been exposed to e-commerce, really fell in love with the idea of getting more involved in e-commerce. I was totally back on my heels, hanging out with the kids and manning my job. I just went back to work a couple of weeks ago after our baby turned 6 months old. And I do marketing for a living, but I do much more B2C marketing, working directly with clients, working directly with students that I support. So not a ton of digital advertising. I have some sort of background knowledge, but really in terms of what we were getting ourselves into, I understood a bit of the marketing world, but the type of marketing that I do was really different from what we were about to dive into.
Cool. So, all right. So you guys, so Seth, obviously you kind of understood e-commerce, but before our program, like you guys had not done, because a lot of times we work with people who have had stores in the past. You guys hadn't done anything, right?
No.
We had nothing. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys learned from the ground up. How did you end up just finding like kind of about e-commerce, Shopify, and diving in? Like, what led you down that path besides your business? Did you find our ad? Is that what you saw in our ad or something?
I did. I got into a lot of videos, and at night I'd go running, and while I ran, I would just watch a lot of videos on Shopify and e-commerce and just how to build a store, product knowledge, and all that. And I came across you guys through that. I think through one of the videos, and that's kind of what led me to you.
Cool. So obviously, a lot of people will go and they'll go on YouTube and there's just so much out there on YouTube and Facebook groups and stuff. But like, what was the trigger that like really made you guys decide to invest in the program and be like, and I'm not talking about us, but just like, you know what, like, let's go for this. Was it just like seeing other people be successful, or the videos you watched, or was there something else?
Yeah, I mean, I did watch the videos, and it was nice to see that, there were people utilizing the course and seeing success. For pretty much anything, when you're starting from the ground up, I believe in coaching, and I believe that you need the guidance. I mean, you can do it on your own, but it's going to take that much more effort and that much longer So I knew going into this that we would need some sort of a program to really get us ramped up and up and running correctly. So that's kind of what led me to you guys. You guys were definitely more hands-on than some of the other coaching programs I had run into online.
All right, so you guys invest in our program, and yeah, we have multiple coaches and things like that. And I always like to ask people, because obviously we're not, a typical, 997 program. I would consider, more hands-on, extensive program. So because you guys had never done this before, were you nervous? Were you excited? Like, what were you feeling?
I was crazy nervous. It's a big jump to get into this, and with time, finances, everything. So yeah, I was nervous, but I was excited because I knew that with the right guidance and the right training, we would certainly, hopefully make it work.
And I wasn't even involved at that point. I mean, I think I was Seth's cheerleader. I was telling him that if this was something he wanted to do, to go for it. But I viewed this as another one of his projects, and something that he was ready to tackle. It wasn't actually until week 2 of SIP that he had turned to me and said, I think I need you to do this. I think you're the right person to do this, and I think you need to hop on. And it took a little bit of convincing for me to actually even give e-commerce a second look.
Well, that turned out to be a good decision, so that's a good segue. So you guys, I like to keep it real with the e-commerce, because there's a lot of hype and a lot of people that talk about it. But the reality of it is it's a business just like any other business, and it takes a lot of work, it takes money, it takes patience, and it really takes a lot of failure before finding success. So, but you guys, so I tell people, hey, look, in the 8 weeks we work together, our goal is to help everybody build a good foundation for an online store, e-commerce business, give them the skill sets and the knowledge to then take it from there and make it what they want, right? But you guys came in like some people do, and by like the 6-week mark, you had found a unique product. I think, Marisa, you told me maybe you found it, or it was your idea. Of course, right? So you found this product, and here's what's crazy is you guys, so every week, every Wednesday, we have what we call like a hot seat and Q&A call. And Seth and Marisa came on, and they were telling us about this product they were selling, and they were telling us they were getting sales for like $1.50 per ad, like $1.50 in ad per sale. So it's like me, and it's Tudor's a coach on our team, works for a digital traffic case, does some work. And both of us are like, oh man, there's got to be something wrong with their ads account or their pixel, because getting sales under $2 is you just don't see it really anymore. So sure enough, we checked, and it was true. You guys had literally found a product that was getting sales for under $2 in ad spend, and you quickly got it up to like $400 or $500 a day. So what was that like? Like we'll give maybe a little tip in a minute about finding products, but was it just kind of like, okay, like it's just happening and you just roll with it? Or were you guys just kind of like, didn't know what was happening, or what?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was,
I didn't know.
We were blind. I mean, I think, we knew we had a good product. We knew we had a good target audience. We were comfortable with both of those. We were excited to start seeing some sales. I don't think we knew how good our numbers were until we heard it over and over and over again. And then, obviously as you start to run more ads and you start to test different audiences, then it was that light bulb moment of holy cow, we actually hit something. I think it's really interesting. We didn't know that we had done something right for quite some time. It took quite a couple of weeks for it to settle in on what those first numbers were.
Yeah, I mean, you hear,
we had no point of reference for anything.
Yeah, no, like you hear, like the only point of reference is like, you hear about traditional businesses, and I know it varies, but they're like, hey, you want to get profitable in your first year or 2 or 12 to 24 months. And it's like e-commerce or just online business in general. It's so backwards in the sense that you can like start a business like in a day. And so it's just, sometimes it's mind boggling, but so you guys did that. And then, but on our end, like working with our team and because it's always helpful to others that are watching this, because many consider, working with us. Like, would you say that what you got out of the program to get you to that point, like met your expectations? Like, this is what I would have expected, exceeded it? or what? What would you guys say?
I mean, for me, definitely. I didn't have a number per se expectation-wise or where we would be at the end of the course, but I mean, it got us to where, you know, I would hope we would have been and a little bit above. So I say it met and exceeded for me, absolutely.
I mean, we didn't actually have a store. We literally had a domain name when we started.
Yeah.
I didn't even come in until the second week. We didn't really start having a store set up. I don't think until the third week is when the store was set up.
I like your answer better, Seth.
So we didn't, I mean, we pretty much brought nothing to the table. So, I mean, it's hard to not say that we didn't learn everything through the program.
Yeah, I mean, perspective-wise, I mean, you guys had literally no knowledge, no store, and then like in 6 weeks, like you're doing what, you know, probably more than majority of businesses would do.
Yeah, I think our first sale was on January 14th.
Yeah.
So our first sale was January 14th, and within 4 weeks, we've topped 10,000 in sales.
So that's really good. So for anybody watching,
Maybe 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
hey, look, it's not typical to see a jump, especially when you have no experience like that. But it's just a testament to what hard work and learning and things like that can do. So that's awesome. So, well, I guess before I ask you about a strategy, like just seeing that happen, like, what is that experience wise? Does that kind of tell you guys, because we talked about how you guys kind of took a breather because you were growing too fast. Does it just kind of give you that, because I know you're nervous when you come in, kind of like, okay, like we know we can do this when we want to. And you were telling me, Marisa, like now you know it works. Now it's just about getting the right systems in place so that you can run it the way you want to run it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think we have no reservations in moving forward. This is definitely something that we totally believe that we can do. And we have the tools and the knowledge, at least the base tools and knowledge, to be able to kickstart things. We did give ourselves a breather just because we couldn't keep up with the pace. And we wanted to make sure that we were going to do this and we were going to do it right and we weren't going to crash and burn. So it was important to us to take that pause, put the right systems in place, get the right team in place, get all of those kind of, all of those pieces where we need them to be so that we can kind of switch back on and hit that green light and start to ramp again and be in a really good place to be able to keep up with demand and be able to meet our customers' expectations and be able to do something that's going to be successful long-term and not just a quick 30-day success.
Yeah. No, that's really, everybody that's watching should really take that to heart because you guys have a young family, you have other stuff you do. And rather than looking at it as like a cash grab, like, hey, we're making money, you said, hey, let's take a step back because we're kind of getting burned out on. So let's take a step back. Let's come up with a system for managing ads. Let's get somebody in place to handle our customer service. So you guys saw that, how quickly it can happen. And then you did what most people would not do. You actually took a step back and said, let's make sure we do this right. So it can be hard to do that, right? Because the money's coming in, but
sure.
You guys, like you said, long term, it'll probably help out a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there one? So for anybody, sometimes people watch these case studies and they're like, oh, there was no good tips. It was just, and I'm like, well, it's just we're talking. But is there like one strategy or something that you were kind of like, aha, like that was really helpful, that helped you guys, whether it was with product research or ads, anything that really helps?
I mean, Marisa took the whole marketing and product piece of it, but I think that's the biggest part of it is finding the right audience to get the right product in front of. You have to find something that not everybody's doing. It's kind of where we saw success, and I mean, I guess you can have success having a mass marketed product, but we found a product that we still haven't found it really advertised anywhere else. So I think that was a big part of it, just really doing some homework and trying to find that product that, with the right audience in front of people.
And I think it was a big piece of, I think Seth comes from the sales background. So he knows that we can sell anything. It's just a matter of finding the right people to sell it to.
Yeah.
And so we found something that we were able to talk about. We found something that resonated with us. We found something that, obviously caught some traction, but more importantly, I think we were able to find the right people to sell it to. and the right way and the right words and the right copy to be able to really attract that audience. So I think it's that combination of not just the right product, but obviously you have to find the right people to actually put it in front of.
So you guys, for anybody watching, I'm going to give you some good tips here. Seth and Marisa did something extremely well. One is in the past, we've talked about social media friendly ad copy, how the ad copy on Facebook should reflect that you're on social media, right? It shouldn't read like a Google ad or anything like that. So your ad copy, I'm obviously not going to give it away, was really good in that aspect. It was like really engaging, and like somebody who's scrolling Facebook would stop and be like, oh wow. And then secondly, like you said, you found a good product that it's not like you went on AliExpress or anywhere else and this thing had thousands of sales. It probably didn't even have maybe a couple dozen, if that. And but you found it, and then the way you targeted was so unique. So you guys didn't, without kind of giving it away, you didn't go, there was definitely interest or behaviors you could have targeted to try and get more specific, but you didn't. You actually just targeted by demographics, like by age and things like that. So for anybody watching and you're confused, the easiest way I could maybe describe it is, let's say you're trying to target homeowners, and Facebook has a behavior called homeowners, but instead of targeting that, you maybe target certain ages and demographics, maybe married, things like that, that reflect. So if you were to go on Google and type in, hey, what's an average homeowner look like? And there's like, oh, it's, age, 38 with kids and whatever it is, right? And you would target like that and kind of ignore. So anyways, that's what you guys kind of did, which we really studied that, because we're like, okay, maybe this is something we need to pay attention to, because it's a bit different than what most people do. So I would say that's a good strategy for those that are watching. Maybe try and target who you want without actually targeting who you want with Facebook interest or behaviors. All right, so we're gonna wrap up here in a sec, but you kind of talked about a big breakthrough, and we kind of talked about the struggle. That would be my next question, I guess, managing everything at once. So two last questions, and these are for people who consider working with us. So if you guys started from scratch, right? If you guys had just said, you know what, let's just watch these YouTube videos and just do it on our own, and just be completely honest. I know you will. Like, where do you think would have been in comparison? Like, do you think you would have made some progress? Maybe not as much, the same? Like, how do you think that would have gone?
For me, if I had not got into the program and brought Marisa in, I would have still been watching those YouTube videos with not much else going on. But I'm sure she can maybe answer a little bit differently.
No, I mean, I think we got our store set up. We didn't have a store. And so I think, it took us committing to the program to really get our store up and open, and then that push to kind of move things along and get going. We didn't want our 8 weeks to waste away.
Yeah.
So it was really important to us that we threw everything we had into each one of those weeks. So no, I mean, I definitely don't think we would be where we are right now, considering we didn't have any of this prior to starting, and I don't know that we would have really been able to push things along as quickly as we did without having joined.
I also think too that you read these articles, watch these videos. Oh, you can open a Shopify store in a day and be up and running, but it's not that easy. It's actually it's more difficult than I thought by quite a bit. Just the whole intertwining of everything and marketing piece with Facebook and getting the store set up properly. It's actually quite a bit more difficult than I thought. So that's a big part of it. Just you need to have some base there. If you're not going to do a program, you better be pretty darn IT savvy and marketing savvy and really know the ins and outs of things. Without help, it's actually, I thought it's going to be very difficult without any assistance.
That's good for people to hear. And there's really two things. So one is people watch, read. I've been guilty of this in other areas. But then until when you invest, it's like sort of like okay, now I've got to do this. I invested, right, in a program. And then secondly, one thing I learned in our program is that having the coaches, so for instance, like you can't say, okay, I'm going to set up my store this week. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And, it's like, okay, you have a call to set up your store between like 2 and 4 on Wednesday, right? So it's like, okay, that's it. Like I'm doing it then. And when you're like, okay, I'm going to set up my first ads this week, and you're all pumped up, and like everything happens. Oh, but instead you have an ad setup call with a coach. You're like, I know that at this time on this day, I'm going to get my ad set up. That stuff is invaluable to me. Like when I work with my own mentors in those areas, where they're like, today you're doing this, and then we kind of implemented that in our program, and that just kind of prevents people from getting stuck. But also, it's like built-in accountability because you have certain days where you have to do that stuff because you have a coaching call. So that's why I think you see that progress that you may not see on your own, just because of things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, in closing, guys, anybody who's watching this and they're considering the program, what would you tell them? That's always helpful.
I would say that you definitely should consider the program, especially as a beginner or someone that really needs the push to really understand how this works. I just think that, coaching in general is very important in really any aspect of business, and it can just take you there so much faster than what you're going to do on your own. I think, could you do this on your own? It'd be pretty tough. I guess, for some people they could, but what would take them a year to learn on their own, they could do in 6 weeks in a program. So, it's just that much faster to get things ramped up and making money.
And I think my biggest caution would just be to make sure that you're ready to commit to it.
Yeah.
It is if you're going to do it and do it right, it's a big investment, not just your money, but it's a big investment in your time.
Absolutely.
And, you're going to be successful if you're willing to dedicate the time that it takes to be successful. But I think that that's a big obstacle for lots of people who are looking to make some quick money. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes endless late nights and crazy early mornings and just about everything in between. But if you are willing to put the time in to make it happen, then, you're going to get a ton out of the program.
Yeah, thank you guys for that. It's funny because people sometimes look at an online business as like it's not like the same type of business. Like they're like, oh, Facebook's constantly changing, and I got to invest money and I've got to invest time. And it's like, just show me a business where these things don't hold true. Any business goes through changes, and any business takes time. It takes money. If anything, in an online business, you just, you have less barrier to entry and less overhead. So I think it's good for people to hear. If you're not committed, if you're looking at this as like, I can make money fast, or I'm only going to put in half an hour a day, it's just not a good fit. There's people that'll tell you that, and they'll work with you, but that's not really not who we want to work with. We want people who really understand it's a business.
Yeah. Awesome.
So guys, thanks for coming on. This will be valuable to people who watch it, and anybody else who's considering, schedule a call with our team. But let's thank Seth and Marisa for coming on, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.